Welcome to Roskill, the Midwest Beta, and this is his final game. And probably it's going to be such as a little bit because first off, I'm small as hell, and probably I should be able to be driving for some trains in the back and really possible. So we're gonna be getting on board with this after it loads so much, not quickly as well. So it loads extremely slow and it will be taking a while. So here I am, and I'm extremely small as hell. But first thing in the morning, and we're gonna be finding for some locomotives as well. So what we now see here in the menu, we have the locations. We have the Breaker train spawner, the Barker yard office, the Colotron train spawner, the Colotron yard dispatcher, downtown Barker, downtown Carletron, Grayson Money Company, Grayson Rest Area, the Green City, and the Rally Stage Start Line, which is absolutely turn off the shadows and the name tags of the trains or locations or many more things as to do this. Because the first off, that they're just gonna be completely turning off the shadows, because literally we're gonna be reducing anything about ourselves or reducing anything about of this in order to get in some kind of a lot of like these things. And we're gonna be find the locomotive, which is absolutely one, because not there it is, it was made from Alco or the General Electric. So here is from like this United States that is completely built this from the Alco series. So what if there must be differences of the locomotives that is eventually spawned like this either. So did I just eventually saved that I never seen such a locomotive like there before. So you can actually using for the free camera mode, especially in the last video, could be the BNLC horse thief route, but looks like I'll be driving trains for the first time instead of remote control trains or the radio control trains we just got over here. So we gotta be starting over here, and we got the skies ready, and probably this is gonna be lifted up into the skies, and a little bit we're just gonna be going all the way up here. And the other kinds of locomotives didn't actually spawn just yet, so not from over here. So we're gonna be trying to get all the way up here, and probably for some many more of these locations from very far. We have all locations we're gonna be trying to get a little bit spawned. We got for some sort of a BC rail, and the video is I didn't actually gonna be trying to find like anything itself for it to do this. So we're gonna be using for the BCOL or some sort of like anything as well. So probably I'm gonna be spawning the Canadian Pacific trains. Looks like, wait a second, we're in Canada. We're starting now in the locos, the SCL, or some sort of a Norfolk Southern. It wasn't probably like exist. We're gonna be spawning the CSX C40. And it is gonna be right over here, and I guess it is the train that we're looking for. So we're gonna be sitting right over the locomotive, and probably locomotives sounds that pretty loud. We're using for that the locomotive number 7837. So we're gonna be trying to roll a little bit along up the side. Now let's just get up and jump out of there. So we're gonna be spawn another locomotive, which is I'm gonna be spawning the slug, and especially for the SD40s, GP38s, and probably I should be able to spawn an AC 4400 CW, and that I just spawn a second locomotive by itself. So we're gonna be reversing of this locomotive a little bit, And probably that doesn't gonna be pretty sound like great. So all you have to do is delete the locomotive. Should I get rid of the locomotive? Should I try to click all over here on the locomotives from those parts? Or should be able to try to delete them? These are the couples. And should be able to spawn for some 3 locomotives whatsoever. So here we go. We have the locomotives by itself. Number 3837. And I shouldn't able to do this to spawn a little bit for one thing. 7837. And another one is probably over here. So we have 2 diesel locomotives that were actually going to be ready to go. I have my remote control or the radio controls like therefore. So I'm going to be coupling for many more of these things. What I just going to be trying to do. This is a double headliner locomotive. We're going to be turning on the lights on. And the bell is actually working. So we're going to be headed for that switch. And we're going to be making for a little bit of one thing as well. And it's going to be slightly making on time. I think we're going to be slow down the locomotive. Wait, there must be a few more cars left. Or many more things as well. So I shouldn't be able to refuse to get on that ride. And we got the most of some kind of things as well. Maybe let's just gonna be trying to collect some freight. And we're gonna be operating for this for the very first time. Starting with over here. I give myself a ride on this train because that was slightly gonna be my very first time about riding a train. Because I might gonna be believe that they're just gonna be going a little bit to get all the way from its a little bit to the bottom. So I suggest I just gonna be getting off the train by pressing the button on your bottom left or right, and it's gotta be a little bit for one thing especially. So we have already the cars having a little bit of one issue for just one thing. Let's give ourselves of the reverse and not having for a little bit of one of trouble for many more of these things. But first off, we're gonna be couple around of those cars for just like the many more, because sometimes it doesn't have any cabooses because it was probably like unsafe for the freight conductors. But looks like we're gonna be hauling a little bit of one more, because looks like that is absolutely called pirating for a round of these cells as well. Because we're still absolutely trying to couple more of them. So it's gonna be trying to be ready to go. And it looked like the AWVR 777 is likely we're gonna be doing this for the Unstoppable movie way. We got a Caterbeam and some sort of we got for such as mixed freights. It's gonna be a lot of them. And it's gonna be ready for hauling. And it's gonna be complete to go. Not from all freights that we just got here. So I'm reducing myself for just a little bit of one time. And looks like we're gonna be using 10% per throttle. And it's gonna be probably one time for just a little bit. We got last 4 cars remaining before we're not gonna be trying to hit something else for just a little bit of one. So we're coupling a little bit more and more. And what about we're going for one more? And we just completely stop the train. We're just having a little bit amount of reverse. and might be able to hear a locomotive bell. We're now gonna begin to move, and it's time to say all aboard by using a CSX, and I might be able to drive it. I should be able to get on a hurry. It looks like I just gonna be jumping on the GE locomotive, and we're finally ready to go. And are you ready? Let's head on. As a train horn has just sounded pretty loud, what looks like we're gonna be pretty able to move on. And we're eventually departed from the station as we're ready to go. But we'll go wait, because I'm not gonna be doing for such as a little bit of one thing. So let's just still get up, and probably we have any more of those rail cars itself, or many more of there, because how many rail cars that I just completely have? It's completely almost a lot.